it.
Let's get into it. Should we play the clip? Should we just play the sound?
Yeah, it's horrible.
Okay, we're gonna play the sound. We're gonna bring the sound up. Just we're gonna talk about this here. Hold on. Let me bring the sound up real quick here.
What country you live in 10 times better than most rich people here.
Mm-hmm.
There's wealthy there and there's rich here. There's a big difference.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So for me, experiencing that and seeing that, and then just the style, the swag, everything has been stolen from there.
Come on, talk
You
your
know
shit,
what I'm saying?
man.
So I think everybody just needs to know that they need to go home, and even just the air, like the air is crisp. You can breathe. Like when you breathe in America, bro, it's like you breathing in problems, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Oh God,
and
listen.
like yes, anxiety. When you leave,
Boy.
oh man, Africa, bro, all that anxiety is out, bro. All of that.
Who was that agreeing with him?
Well, he was on a radio show, and he was. I guess the question was, what was his experience like being in Africa? When you hear, uh, not because he's not from America. He's not Rotimi's not from America. When you
He's an
hear
English speaking African.
right, so when you hear non FBA speaking about America, what's your thoughts? And what's your thoughts about that?
I mean, it's what the African refugees do. It's something that they do. They shit on Americans. They shit on America. They wave the flag of a failed nation that couldn't provide for its own people. So when you want to compare apples and oranges here, then let's do that. Okay, we're talking about somebody that is escaping a country. I believe he's Nigerian.
Right, that's correct. That's
Yeah,
correct.
like, do you see our brothers running into our schools and places of education where our young girls and boys are learning and snatch the girls out of school like Boko Haram to take them for child brides? Do you see genitalia mutilation? Okay, so they got a host of issues over there. They got problems with all kind of robberies. They had to go create a whole SARS unit to stop some of the Nigerian scams that are coming out of that area.
Right,
So when you talk
we ain't
about
talking about the
wealth, you're talking about the
scams.
natural resources, but you can't afford to feed your people over there. And let's not even
Right,
talk about the entire continent. So
right.
we would have better resources if the Africans stayed over there. You get what I'm saying? So you come over here, you crowd our schools. You don't go to the white schools. You come into the hood. We don't know you. We don't understand your culture either. We ain't never met no Africans. You come in not wearing deodorant, a host of issues. Hygiene, poor hygiene, poor grooming, men and women, children. So they come into them and then they say, you can't come over here into these mixed neighborhoods or these white. So they flood our schools and we have to split resources that we are barely even getting for those children who are here and their descendants since Brown versus Board of Education. So there's a host of issues they have over there. And so he wants to talk about the air. Okay, but he doesn't see the Africans come over here and they don't even know any other cities outside of New York and maybe LA and maybe some places on the East Coast. They don't know about Kansas. They don't know about Montana. They don't know about New Mexico. You go to the Navajo reservation, fresh air. So he thinks that we need to go home, but we are home. He needs to go home since he's talking about people going home. Our ancestors were here in 1625 in New York. My people were here in 1790 in places we call Arkansas today. Where was his ancestors in 1776? Where was his ancestors in 1863 and 1865 at the time of the Emancipation Proclamation? So you need to go back to the land where your ancestors are buried, where your grandparents are buried. Mines are here.
You think when brothers like that have that type of conversation publicly, does it lessen the chance of FBAs actually getting reparations in
Oh,
this
those are
country?
refugees. The African refugees, just like any other immigrant, has nothing to do with reparations, and those shouldn't be in the same conversation. See, they think we're from Africa, so they have this king mentality that as we're supposed to bow down, the king has finally arrived. Their chiefs, their kings were destroyed. Okay? Ours, and we just experienced a little bit of amnesia and indoctrination thanks to Columbus and critical race theory. and 1619 Project. Just a little bit of confusion there and a distortion of the fact. He doesn't know enough about the United States to say anything. So we can't even have that discussion when it talks about reparations because he wouldn't get it. His ancestors weren't here. So he shouldn't talk about slavery. He shouldn't say anything. He shouldn't even be saying the N-word, okay? Unless he's talking about Nigerians. Take that shit back over there.
So he's gonna see this interview.
No, he's not. Is he, Dennis?
Because I'm
Well,
gonna
perfect.
make sure he sees it.
Go on back from whence you came. You English speaking Nigerian, Igbo, Yoruba, I don't care. You ain't home. We are home. So don't ever tell anybody we need to go home. So we are with the land where our great-grandparents are buried. Thank you.
Just in your back yard, so to speak, I saw a WWF style fight that took place in the fashion district, and I don't know what the heck happened. I actually wanted you to go down there, but then I didn't want you to go down there because I saw a lot of kings like crutches being used as weapons. And the conversation it's going on now is Mexicans don't feel that blacks should even be the recipient of any potential reparations. And
the Mexicans said that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Mexicans are who now? Who are they to us?
Yeah, damn thing to me.
And they're commenting on our reparations claim for what?
I don't think they were having
reparaciones. Viva reparaciones.
So
they have nothing to say about our claim other than the fact that they are the Spaniards that instituted slavery in the Americas starting in Florida. Those cops that are killing the kids in Compton, those are Mexicans, Hispanics, white, Latinos. So when you want to talk about what we don't get and what we shouldn't get, that's because they're the perpetrator, they're the abuser, they're the terrorist, they're the colonizer, they're the conquistador, they are the immigrants. But they are seen as Latinos here, so. And they think they're brown. This is brown, okay? This is melanin. They are not brown. So we got a lot of issues with them. They actually think like Baja California, with it being Spanish, they have no understanding of the Moors in Spain in 1492. So let's talk about, again, who owes reparations. It is those same Mexicans and Spaniards. We figured it out. We fucking figured out who to point our reparations claim at.
So when you we have obviously the vice president who is from California, and they said if the talk is if reparations would happen, it would probably happen in California first. Do you think that she's done enough to push the messaging, and she's in a position to obviously speak to the president, and then perhaps she was a senator. Do you think that we would even see something like this happen in our lifespan?
Yeah, I already told you years ago, Dennis, I'm going to get it in this body. Not some magical body 100 years from now, not passing this on to the next generation. I'm going to get it. So the great state of California has a reparations task force. Okay, so this is what happened. Once Kamala, Madam Vice President, when she became from senator to vice president, it left a vacancy. Alex Padilla took that spot. Alex Padilla was Secretary of State. Who took his spot was a sister named Dr. Shirley Weber. So Dr. Shirley Weber was appointed by Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom instituted the first ever reparations task force for a state that didn't even necessarily have legalized slavery. So when it joined the Union, it joined as a free state. And so you can look up the story of Biddy Mason if you want to know more about that. A great example of how that worked in our favor. But other than that, she would be the tiebreaker should it come to a 50-50. Anybody that is for reparations needs to be talking to their state senator in terms of like in their House of Representatives. We're talking about Congress, United States Congress.
Right.
They need to be talking to the representatives. It's in the House, H.R. 40. It hasn't even gone to the Senate yet. What will it look like when it gets to the Senate? But in the event Kamala cannot go out there and advocate for it because all the Democrats are mainly for it. The people that are the Trump supporters, the ones that are against the January 6th committee, those people are anti-reparations for slavery. Don't even want to issue an apology. So the Democrats are on board with it. Biden said, should a reparations bill come to his desk, he would sign it. Where is it? There's nothing for him to sign. He can't. He's not a lawmaker. He's not in the legislation anymore. He's in the executive branch. So
what is your thoughts on having critical race theory taught in schools, even at earliest level possible?
I think the colonizers, that I like to call the Neanderthals, should probably stay away from it. They've done enough in the revising of history, the revisionism. They have totally just repainted stories and then had to go back and they had to correct their false claims. I think but critical race theory is the way it's taught in school. I kind of see a lot of those points. Unfortunately, I never thought I would, but I kind of see particularly the Black Republicans point. I don't care about the others, but when I listen to our brothers and sisters that are Republicans, what they're saying is I can actually understand. And the way we teach critical race theory, we want to make the perpetrators and the opposers of some type of liberation for our people. We want to make them feel guilty. We want the next generation to know that was bad behavior. Don't do that again. But at the same time, we forget that it's also teaching those innocent baby boys and girls, the brown, melanated Black children, that this is what happened to their ancestors. A lot of times that wasn't the case. They're telling them things about what happened in terms of lynchings and not having any sensitivity for young ears. So the way that I was taught things about assassinations, Crispus Attucks, I'm like, that's a strong narrative to be teaching somebody about itself. Why don't they teach the white children how the Indians used to scalp them? Why don't they teach the white children about how the Indians used to slit their throats? That would be fair.
I think even coming up in school myself, the books were obviously censored. It wasn't even censored. The information wasn't even in the books. The information on our history wasn't really in the books. We learned just the basic, but we would have to have went outside of the classroom and really got the education that we wanted to have. And I think that even if there are states that don't want it to be discussed, just with the internet, there are going to be a lot of people who are going to be seeking the knowledge anyway. So when you try to hold information back from people,
but it's not. But that's the thing too. We need to understand that a lot of that information isn't correct. A lot of what you think you know about slavery. I've actually challenged a lot of my people that live in places, let's say, for example, Georgia, in the most rural parts, the most country towns, and they've started digging and they have no evidence of slavery. They look at the county records, they look at all the statistics. Slavery was it was a big business, no doubt about that. But if we want to think that every nook and corner and cranny of this United States held slaves, then you're not telling the complete story. At the time of the Emancipation Proclamation, there were only 34 states. So okay. I invite anybody that's claiming a slave ancestry to at least learn the plantation, or in what ways were your ancestors enslaved. It wasn't always cotton. You weren't always working the farms in Georgia. A lot of the states in the 13 original colonies, you get what I'm saying? That now we get too deep, but the 13 original colonies were English-speaking countries or colonies, and these were like little states, and they abided by the Magna Carta. If you would notice, there was no slavery in Great Britain. There was no slavery in France. You get what I'm saying? There was no slavery in Europe. So the people that came over instituted slavery. The Spaniards in Florida instituted slavery. But other than that, slavery was prohibited.
That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, those who are joining in, our guest tonight is Lila Brown. And Lila, I typically let the guests just give a little background, but just let people know your background and like your coming up, your family history, because you have a long family history in Georgia, but just give people a little background, please.
Okay, great. Hi, yes, I'm Lila Brown. I'm an entertainment publicist. I also work as an Olympic sports agent. I own a media marketing agency in Los Angeles, California. And like he was alluding to, I'm a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha. I do want to put that out there because, the vice
Alpha
president
Kappa
is a member.
Alpha.
My sorority sister is vice president of the United States. But other than that, no, my roots
Shout out to
are on my
Harris.
paternal Georgia. Also, we got a little bit of Kansas going on there, and so, and you know this, Dennis, but a lot of people may not know that. I'm a tribal member of Cherokee Nation, and so I got a lot of stories there.
Wow, when did you find out that you were a tribal member?
Oh, well, I've been a member officially fairly recently, but we always knew that growing up. We were Indians. It's just that my grandmother left the reservation to be with my grandfather, and they went and explored the world together. So,
So
and
he left the
yeah,
reservation. Oh wow.
my grandparents met on the reservations in Oklahoma, Muskogee Reservation.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a love
So
story of some sort.
so he said Oklahoma. Wow.
Yeah, so that was where all the Indians that walked the Trail of Tears, where they were
Mhm.
pushed and displaced to. So essentially, yeah, it's just unfortunate, but a lot of the genocide and enslavement, all the mistreatment from the United States, all the state-sponsored terrorism, that was inflicted on Black people, brown people, whatever you want to call us. But those were the American Indians. The United States has always had a hostile relationship of the Indian problem, they used to call it,
Right. Even
So
in
that's why when the Native Americans saw the soldiers in the Civil War, they call them Buffalo Soldiers to remind them of who they are.
right.
We are the Buffalo people.
That's
Look at
right.
Buffalo, New York. We are the Buffalo people.
Facts.
Why do you think it was such a large contingency of us in Buffalo and that was targeted? So these are programs that the United States have been running for a very long time. That was a covert operation. But notice we did not retaliate. So other than that, if you look deep into the stories of Mississippi, if you look into why Emmett Till's family was from Chicago, but what were they doing down in Mississippi? Well, a lot of Chicagoans go to Chicago, seriously. Talk to people that grew up there. Their roots are in Mississippi. They went on down to Mississippi. Same thing like Indiana, about the same thing.
Right.
But Emmett Till's roots were in Mississippi because that's where the Royal Mounds are. That's where a lot of American Indian history is. So a lot of, present day Chicagoans I've heard stories and narratives that they grew up going down to Mississippi to visit their ancestral burial grounds. Just know that their great grandparents are buried in those areas. So the fact that we just think every inch of the corner was colonized, every inch of the United States was, had some form of slave. You got to remember, this is just pockets of colonization and illegal occupation.
Talk about some of the benefits that are available to the American Indians, and specifically your tribe.
Well, I'll tell you, my tribe, Cherokee Nation, my ancestors received they got more than 40 acres in a mule. A lot of the Muskogee was receiving 160 acres. So for every time they were popping out babies, they take them to the Indian office and be like 120 acres for that baby, 160 acres for that baby. So they would the Black people was going around popping out babies. The parents had 120, 160 acres. You can look up the story of Sarah Rector. As a newborn, I believe she received with the Muskogee anywhere around 300 acres. But there's oil under that land, is what people don't realize. That this is Tulsa we're talking about. Right. So Tulsa was affirmed by the Supreme Court in 2020 as still being Muskogee territory. So Tulsa is known as the oil capital of the 20th century.
So someone just said, Parker said, That girl is denying her African ancestors.
Yeah, the Africans come over here and want us to claim their fallen gods. They want us to claim their failed flags. These are refugees, many times, want us to claim a foreign continent. They think black people are relegated to one area.
And
They
that
think
was
the
from
sun
Parker.
only
That was
shines
from
in
Parker.
Africa, and they think photosynthesis and melanin can only occur in Africa. These are people that usually don't have passports.
Mm. Hey, Parker, do you have a passport?
Then you should go to South America. They think that the Neanderthal populated the Americas. How convenient.
And you studied the
They
slave
think
trade.
lost colonizers populated the Caribbean with Africans.
Lila, you studied the slave trade.
Did I?
Did you?
Did we?
Did
we?
you?
Did it make sense to you? Did it make sense? You think some fragile, scraggly peckerwoods, as I like to call them, you think they went to Africa and had a civil war, and no Africans actually have any stories of any of these kidnappings. The only thing they know about slavery comes from Hollywood. And so they don't have any history of anybody coming over there and snatching people up. Actually, Africans were selling people going more towards Mecca to the east. So that's the trans-Saharan slave trade. But in terms of transatlantic, those waters are treacherous. So you tell me the Neanderthals came down from, I have a globe here. So you know what I'm saying? You need to go back to school. Most of these people don't have college degrees. They have never traveled to Africa, but they will claim a foreign god. Their grandparents never told them they were African. Their grandparents never said. And actually, I have so many articles and journals from our ancestors in 1855 and 1732 that said, why do they keep saying we're from Africa? Free Negroes, colored aristocracy, boule, noble class, blackamoor English, okay? Why you think you speak in English, okay? The Magna Carta made sure that our people were not enslaved. So there you have it. You don't know enough. You ain't read the state charter for not a single colony or state within the 13 original colonies. You don't know what I mean when I say 1776. So you might want to stand down. Because I actually went to school and paid attention and did supplemental reading, did additional reading, then traveled to see for myself. Because I don't believe half of what I read on the internet. I go and cross-verify. So until you do that, until you go on some archaeological digs, till you actually go to Africa, you don't have much to say to me. But you're in the audience, that's why I'm a guest on this show. So
I'm gonna start requiring my commenters to produce those passports. I'm gonna bring them on. We need to see a passport. I can run and get my passport a couple of days away. But yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? They don't know enough. They don't even know the whatever state they're in. They don't even know the charter, the original charter. They don't even know anything about the order. They don't know about the just do a land acknowledgement. How about that one? Tell Rotimi's big nose, what 50 Cent used to call him on that show, big ass nose. Do a land acknowledgement. Let's talk about New York in 1625. Let's do a land acknowledgement for the Seneca. Let's do a land, that's what you call Central Park, that area. Let's do a land acknowledgement for the Iroquois, the Iroquois Nation, Buffalo. So you think that your favorite Neanderthal populate, but William Penn said the Lenape of Pennsylvania were black. The Indians, the Native Americans were black. Even over in Europe, they said anytime in the art world you see the word African, that is actually a depiction of indigenous Americans. You don't know enough. You ain't traveled to the Dresden Museum, so just hold your horses there.
Lila's well traveled.
Whoa there.
That's right, Lila. Spit that fact.
They went and saw the Heart of They Fall and saw Cherokee Bill and just thought they were just making some shit up. You don't know enough. So when we tell you who we are, I wasn't asking. The Africans come over here and want us to bow down to their fallen gods and their failed flags. And they know nothing about, do a land acknowledgement where you are. Whose land are you on? Whether you identify as not, whose land are you on? I know I'm on the Tonga's land.
That's right.
Chumash.
Did you were you able to share your link? Or did you receive the link? Were you able to share your link?
I'll edit this and then I'll give it to my people.
Absolutely. Well, people coming in, and shout out to Samantha being up late with us. Shout out to
let's see,
Parker, who has some questions. I should bring Parker up. let's see. I lost you, Lila.
No, you didn't.
It went
I'm
dark.
trying to share the link while
Oh,
you're doing
okay.
your little shout outs.
Oh, okay, okay. All right, go ahead.
Yeah,
Okay.
they think anybody with melanin is African, and they ain't even the name of the continent. I've never seen ancient text where it was called Africa. So what is Africa means to fraction, to divide and conquer, as it has.
All right, guys.
Friction,
Those are joining
Africa.
in. We got Lila Brown, and we were talking about the comment that Rotimi from Power said. You know, he was basically, you know, big up in Africa.
Big up in a failed nation.
Right. So, and he caught some flack, and a shout out to Tariq Nasheed for bringing it to my attention. Yeah, Tariq be on it.
Tariq is on it. He done changed that Pan-African ideology up a little bit. He
He
started to
definitely
pick
be
up on some things why his name is
he
Nasheed,
definitely be on
if
it
that's his real
for
name.
real. Right. We want to see.
I can't wait to meet Tariq Nasheed. I cannot wait
No,
to
no,
talk
that's his real name. That's definitely his real name on his driver's license.
Tariq Elite.
That's his real name. That's
Is it his real name?
That's real. His
Well,
real
that
name.
ain't American Indian.
Oh, by the way, I got a message. Those are here. Dana Jackson sent me a message, want me to get on his show. But I'm inviting Dana to get on my show,
There
and
you
let's
go.
talk about the topic that we spoke on today regarding the issuing the threatening another person. He said he wanted to explain himself, so I'm inviting him. He's obviously out there. He might be watching in the bushes, but he is more than welcome to get on the show. Just you send me a DM. You know, you send me another one if you want to get on the show and explain and put it what happened in some context. Because at face value, it appeared that you would threaten a guy, but maybe you have a reason for threatening him online, which I don't think is any
Who?
reason. That I'm sorry, Lila. This is I was talking about another case, another discussion we had earlier today. We were live earlier talking about that. But Dana, if you're out there, come just ping me and we'll bring you up. Anyway, Lila, what else are you working on? You got some cool clients. Let's talk about some of the clients you're working on.
Wow. Okay, I'm restructuring right now. Far out. I'm working on the Olympics. We just
Ooh,
wrapped up the MLB All Star. The
okay.
Dodgers hosted, and it was amazing because we got the Ronald Acuna Jr., who is from the Atlanta Braves. So I was happy to
Oh, wow. Okay.
welcome the World Series champions to Los Angeles. And when baseball starting to look black again with a brother named Mookie. A brother named Mookie Betts leading the way for the Dodgers. I'm happy. Big Poppy's in the Hall of Fame, but most importantly, Buck O'Neil, Negro Leagues player who elevated to the MLBs as a coach. We had some Negro League baseball players that were inducted to the Hall of Fame, and Buck O'Neil, very, very special person, and he made it.
Oh, Buck.
It's
All right.
it's a good day. It's a good
Yeah.
day. He made it on Sunday. He was enshrined in
Okay.
Cooperstown, New York. So very happy about that.
Have you spoken to the young lady who was attacked by the homeless person? Because I know I saw a photo of you and her together, and she made headlines last week, I believe.
Yeah, Kim Glass was attacked by seemingly a homeless person, what seemed to be a homeless person downtown Los Angeles. She is an LA native. She's Olympic silver medalist for USA volleyball. She's posed in a Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue. Amazing person. I have talked to her. I mean, she's of course grateful. I think she's still a little, like thrown off, but she's strong. I just try to rally some support around her, but we'll see what's going on with Kim. She's not as public, she's not necessarily public.
Right.
She does her sports fitness modeling. She does her thing on the internet, but she's pretty much, retired athlete. I think it just speaks more to the fact that the Olympics are coming to Los Angeles, and will it be safe? Will we have this homeless problem under control? You know, this is downtown where a lot of the homeless population are kind of
Do
like
we know? Do we
concentrated.
even know why that even happened? Was he mentally disturbed? Do you have
Oh,
any?
I was talking to some security in the area about it yesterday, actually. He had been released so many times. A lot of people complain about the homeless here. They kind of have their own laws and they do whatever they want, unless they're impeding upon some business, you know, but they pretty much don't get the Citizens app if you live downtown Los Angeles, because you're going to always hear somebody walking around with a machete. Somebody's always taken as a hostage. Somebody is always somebody with a metal pipe, and that's what happened to her that day. But I heard that was his fourth or fifth incidences. He's always going out. This man was always going after women, and they kept arresting him, but they detained him and let him go. But this time, because of the prominence of who he attacked, they decided to keep him this time. And so I think he's gonna have his day in jail, his day in court for real, for real. So unfortunately,
is that bad out there? Like,
oh, it's lawlessness. This is like Texas after the Emancipation Proclamation, and they was just running around killing all the free Negroes. It's like that. It's just people doing whatever they want, robbing. Beverly Hills. Unfortunately, there was a home robbery that took the life of Jacqueline Avon. You know, Claire's Avon's. You know, I hate to have heard something like that. Are we safe out here? The police told any tourist that come to, you know, Los Angeles that they can't really help you. So don't call them, especially if you're from out of town. Now, they too busy helping residences and other things that the people that are LA proper, but for the most part, because there's such an influx of tourism, like the tourism is its own population, you know what I'm saying?
right.
On any given day in LA. They just
Absolutely.
saying, don't even call us, just try to figure it out on your own. Because like if you're going around certain neighborhoods, you being too friendly. There's a good security at Universal Studios, Disney World, Dodger Stadium. But when you start wanting to go venture off into the jungle, maybe don't. And so if you do, don't call our police because they're handling residential issues.
I know we had. I was working on one of the movies with Manny, and the warehouse we used was literally down the block from. And then we had to go downtown. So one of the locations were downtown, and I'm looking at people said, "Don't venture off too far." No, I wasn't planning on it, but
Right.
it's a serious problem.
Well, but think about it too. At the same time, we're calling for defund the police. With the defunding the police and abolishing the police, a lot of those prisoners, those are in jail, they're being released by the hundreds, sometimes by the thousands every day. They can't hold them. They're getting them out. You know, we're decreasing the prison population as what a lot of people wanted, but not everybody has somewhere to go. So these people
And
are
that's the other problem. So
yeah.
what? So there's no mechanisms in place, no resources made available for when people are released. Because in most cases, none of them have a residence when they get out.
Well, it depends. If you're in LA County, yes. But if you're in Barstow or Riverside and you can just take a train and come into LA. You get what I'm saying? It's hot out in that desert. And in Beverly Hills, they not letting you just be a beach bum all day. So they got a lot of them come to the city and they just kind of lay up on the resources. But you go to Santa Barbara, they be like, you can't park here. You can't pitch a tent here. I mean, they do, but when it becomes an overwhelming problem, you got politics, and sometimes that takes maybe a couple of months to get them out. They got to pass ordinances. But at the same time, LA has done a good job in like giving them key cards and saying, go take this hotel room for 6 months. LA has a lot of programs, but sometimes the population doesn't want to take it because of what they're giving up in exchange. So don't be texting while
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The guest just sent me a message.
I kid.
You wasn't supposed to see that. The camera angle shouldn't.
That's what you would do to me, Dennis, if it was me.
Yeah, I sure would. Like they'll tell you don't chew gum. So no, I'm listening.
No. But seriously, what's happening is that the resources that are available are not always, well received. So they try. I mean, LA's trying. Hotel Cecil. Don't forget about Hotel Cecil.
Oh my God. Oh,
that's now a homeless shelter.
Is it?
Not homeless shelter, but they give them dignified apartments. Sometimes these places are fully furnished already. So we were trying. LA's trying, but it takes time.
People
They want to
need to know the
convert.
backstory. They need to know the backstory to Hotel Cecil.
I don't know the backstory. I don't listen to ghost stories.
Well, it was a Netflix special talking about Hotel Cecil and how this woman disappeared. And
The
she was
footage
never
was really
found.
creepy.
Yeah, and we don't
It
want to
was
talk
like
about
somebody was calling her, like a ghost was calling, and she was following it. You couldn't see what was calling her, and she just following this sound, and she ended up dead on the roof in a
in the water
water
tank. In the
tower
water tank,
cooler
right?
type, like a water tank.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
I don't know how many buildings have a water tank. Oh, damn, Hotel Cecil has a water tank. It's so prominent. Like, why is there a water tank? Oh, they need to just take it down. But they might need that water for that old ass building. But what
Yeah.
they've since done with it is gone into it, renovated, really good renovation. You're talking about a lot of these old buildings are gilded, very beautiful architecture downtown LA. But they take these units and they fix them up. They give them furniture, and then they give the access to homeless population, and so they can have a fresh start. And hopefully, with just a little bit of help, they'll get back on their feet. So it's something.
Right.
Sometimes 6 months ain't enough. They need maybe 3 years to really just
Right,
kind of
right.
rehab and get their mind
So
back.
it's like a project of sorts. Like like it's kind of set up like a project, like public housing.
Well,
Right.
isn't it the county's duty and responsibility to take care of the public for
Right.
housing? So
Right.
what is essentially is that California wants to show other cities and states, how Los Angeles is dealing with it, and maybe you could do it to your end, maybe not on as a large scale, but taking some of those old buildings, renovating them, putting those that's the tax dollars. That's our taxpayer dollars. We got to do something. We got to get them off the streets. I want to be able to walk around downtown safely. The Olympics are coming here. Security is always an issue with any Olympics. So.
And tourists obviously want to venture downtown. They want to go to.
Well, I don't know why any tourists want to come downtown unless they're going to Staples. Stay near Staples. Do not pass Figueroa. Don't go past 10th, around 10th and 12th Olympic and Figueroa. To stay in that vicinity. Park in that area. Don't think you're just going to park and go walk too, because the parking here is like $20. It's so expensive. $20 or something. Stay in the tourist area.
It was
Do not
20
come
when we
downtown.
did the movie. We had to pay for parking. Well, we got it reimbursed, but still, we had to pay for parking.
Yeah, so y'all need to get never mind. Never mind. But anyway, yeah, because over here they always filming. But I mean, you're on the management side, right? So that they got to take care of the cost, is what you mean.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cost, to take over that lot for the day. Yeah, a lot of filming downtown, beautiful area, but it impedes upon businesses. So that's why the local businesses are saying, Black-owned businesses are even complaining. It's not just white people being insensitive. It's Black-owned businesses that are saying, hey, something needs to be done. They're destroying. They don't have any regard for, my beautification of my storefront. So it's pretty bad. And then they're just angry a lot of the times. A lot of them do have the resources. They ain't got no job. They're not doing it. So they out in the day. And I feel like I know Skid Row. I'm sorry. I'm giving a lot of details, but these are the day-to-days of what's happening. So when there's random occurrences, I'm like, just the wrong place at the wrong time. And so I hope she doesn't feel targeted. I hope she heals. But at the same time, best wishes to her. And
absolutely.
Yeah, and a speedy recovery, and glad that she was not her life wasn't taken, and she showed that she's a strong person. And I just think it was so surprising what happened. But Kim is a tall woman. Most people mistaking her for a WNBA player.
Oh,
so
wow.
She's very tall, big, glamazon of a sister. So
what's your thoughts on Brittany Griner and the
on Brittany Griner?
Yeah, and the possible prison trade that was discussed in the
prisoner swap. Who doesn't love a prisoner swap?
Well, America's trying to do a 2-for-1. They want 2 prisoners back.
And I'm like, that is was not a deal. Y'all are so
Right.
wrong.
And that's why I said, wait a minute. If
Who's
you're
the
really
most
didn't
valuable
really try,
player here? We get
right?
they get
you know,
2 Russians. Ain't she
no,
the
no,
only
no, 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 no.
American? Oh my!
One
I know there's
Russian
some
for
other
2
Americans they
Americans.
could have got now. But you know what? That I don't like that because they just did a prisoner swap.
That's right.
So they gonna get
And that was a 1-for-1.
That was
So
1-to-1.
It was 1-to-1. But so is it because of the black woman? What the heck is
So
going
Russia,
on?
you just go ahead, tell us you run the world without telling us you run the world.
Yeah.
How do we say this? Like I said about, I guess the United States is a failed state now. That's what China said. I should not be saying that publicly. That's what China said, though. You get 2? Dang.
No.
That's
No, listen.
But,
America wants to give 2. They want to get 2 Americans for 1 Russian. And
okay, now that makes sense. Okay, that makes sense. I'm about
I
to
mean,
say,
if we seriously try to get a home, do a 1-for-1. I get they turn.
No, I think it's 2. I think it's 2 Russians.
No,
for Brittany Griner.
No, it's Kevin. I want to say it's Kevin Wellen,
And Brittany.
and Brittany Griner.
Oh, okay. The plot thickens. Okay, let me see. Oh, so we win in this negotiation. Wow.
No, they didn't take it. They may want to do a 1-for-1 again.
Hold on. This is good. This is why I voted for Biden. Everybody asks me why I vote for Biden. This is why. Now, think about this real quick. I wanted to talk about Brittany Griner, but this prison swap is very highly methodical. This person that Putin wants is on the top of his wish list. That's from what I'm hearing.
Right.
He really wants this person.
He's an arms dealer. He's a Russian
but he
arms
also
dealer.
had anti-American sentiment. He really wanted to kill a lot of Americans.
Mm-hmm.
And Putin is salivating to get him back. So knowing that Putin really wants this person, how is Biden going to play this? This is so entertaining. This is better than any James Bond movie to me.
Mm-hmm.
I want her home. I don't know why anybody else needs to be included in her deal. I don't even think
right. That's what I'm saying.
Prisoner swap. I'm gonna be honest with you.
That's what I'm saying. Why can't it be a 1-for-1? Why are you making it?
Why can't just be bring her home and and we still gonna keep your? See, I don't like it because that lets me know she was indeed targeted. They wanted to use this as a trading piece.
Good night, Samantha.
I think Russia played this. I just wish Biden. I don't know if this is the time to really try to show your muscle because that could be a long negotiation. Do that on somebody else's time. Dang! If this gets her home any quicker, I'm for it. I am so for it. This is so entertaining to watch though. But besides my entertainment, let's get Brittany Griner home. Whatever we got to do, get her home.
Right.
I don't like the politics behind it. I think we just get her home and we don't give no Russians back. If you really want to, but I think that's going to take longer negotiations. And I think she's been there long enough. Since February, come on. She's been there long enough.
Well, we don't put it out there, so saying no. We want to come home, but there are a few factors that are at play. She's facing 10 years. I mean, it's political. Totally political. She was there supporting her Russian teammates. And that's why it's even more insulting. And the other part to that is, if they release her, do you think she's going to stay and want to go back to play for Russian basketball, or is she going to keep her behind in America?
No, we're going to get her paid in the United States.
Right.
You need to get a hand clap.
Right. Get up.
We're going to get her paid in the United States so she can just play for one nation and one nation only. Because when she plays in the Olympics, she plays for Team USA.
Right.
So Team USA needs to come.
Charlie Fairchild, my Twitter buddy. So Lila, thank you for coming in. I appreciate you. I enjoy the conversation always with you. I look forward to seeing you when I come out there. And then we'll make the announcement together on the other situation, but we're going to talk about that just yet. Ladies and gentlemen, give Lila Brown